and welcome to Wedding Secrets with me, Claire. Firstly, a big thank you for coming and tuning in to our video. Now, in case you haven't heard of us before, here at Wedding Secrets, we are at the forefront within the wedding industry. We work with many experts around the world when it comes to all aspects of wedding, from photography, catering, DJs, florists, and we create some of the most incredible wedding summits. You see, our passion at Wedding Secrets is to share our knowledge with you, to help lead you on your big day. Because one thing myself and the whole team know is just how much getting married can be quite stressful at times, a little bit overwhelming at times, and perhaps sometimes you don't always want to talk to a friend or a family member. Just so you know, here at Wedding Secrets, we are here for you, we're here to help you, we're here to give you our advice. Which is why we have created these fantastic videos giving you some key information to help you make those great choices along your way. And sometimes it's nice to have somebody who you can talk to and share those problems or find the answers that you're looking for. Now, that leads me on to today's video. So today's video, we are going to be talking about those crucial 7 days before your wedding. Now, this is for our brides and our grooms. Everyone's involved, even your bridesmaids as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work through the 7 days of what to avoid when we're talking about diet. I don't necessarily mean in terms of weight loss, although it can be used for that. In terms of to avoid bloating, to keep your energy levels up, to not dib and dab throughout the day, to keep that nice, sturdy, continuous level of energy exactly where you want it to be. I'm going to work through some of the key things for you to avoid 7 days before your wedding, and I'm going to explain why to avoid them, how it's really going to benefit you on your big day. And then what we'll do at the end, we will recap them all, make sure you've got a note of them, and if you do want to include these on your big day, that's great news. It's just going to help you be nice and sprightly and refreshed and not feeling sluggish. So I think it's definitely time to get started. Do not forget, give us a like, give us a subscribe, go and leave us a comment in the box if there's a video that you would like creating from us at Wedding Secrets, especially if it's a question you're struggling to find the answer to. Now, it's 7 days before your big day. You've been planning your wedding for months and months, years and years. The one thing you don't want to happen on your big day above all else is for you not to feel your best. You don't want to feel tired. You don't want to feel drained. Now, there are lots of aspects on the way to a wedding that can make you feel like this, such as stress, not getting enough sleep, being worn down. Perhaps you've got all of the family staying with you. Yeah, all these factors can really play quite hard into your spirit and your energy levels. Now, although we can't help you with all of those, one area we can definitely advise you in is your diet on the way up to your wedding. Now, there's a few different reasons why keeping your eye on your diet is so crucial. Firstly, let's be honest. Perhaps you have got a beautiful suit, a beautiful dress for brides and grooms, and perhaps it's a little bit snug. The last thing that you're going to want on your big day is to get that bloating sensation. So the dress doesn't, or the suit doesn't quite fit quite right, or perhaps it feels uncomfortable. By avoiding certain foods and certain drinks, you can really help to avoid that bloating, which we all get from time to time. It's completely normal. Now, the next reason why these are going to be so important, let's say you have been hardcore dieting on the run up to your wedding. You've done really, really well. You've reached your goal and you think 7 days from a wedding, I deserve a treat. Of course you do, but you've got to remember your body, if you have been dieting, has not been exposed to those foods for a while. and the consequences don't always go so well, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And the other aspect is hydration and energy levels. This is so key. On your wedding day, you've paid all this money, you've done all these plans, you want to be feeling your absolute best. And I completely understand that. And food, diet is a huge part of that. So I think it's definitely time for us to get started on which foods and drinks we should be avoiding on those 7 days before your wedding. Also, do not forget, at Wedding Secrets, we also have videos 7 days before your wedding with helpful tips on exercise and beauty. Beauty is a really key one, especially for skincare as well. And skincare, diet, exercise, it all comes into one bracket. So let's get started. A thing to avoid above all else is, of course, one of my favourite things, salt. I am the biggest salt lover. Even when I've got chippy chips with salt already on, I like to add even more salt. Now, the thing is, although we love salt, what salt does is it can retain matter. So what that means is it's going to hold on to that salt. And if you do, especially if you've got a dress maybe with a zip, so you've not got the room of a corset, or perhaps you've got a suit that is quite tight within the area, or buttons, especially buttons. If you've not got a lace corset, if you've got buttons or zips, there is no room for gaining or losing weight. The dress or the suit is ready for your body shape. So the best thing to do, I know it's hard, just for 7 days before, just avoid salt. Don't put salt on anything extra. Go for, when you're making your veg, when you're creating your veg, when you're doing your chicken, just don't season it. It's not as nice, personally, but it's a huge helpful hint. And you know what we always say? We are what we eat, and it's so true. And remember, we're only talking about 7 days before, so it's not forever. Now, my next one is alcohol. Yes, alcohol. Now, there are a few reasons to avoid alcohol. Firstly is you naturally swell. Your belly can hold onto it, and that's when you get that swollen look. And again, it's not something you want. It's not something you want on your wedding day when you're looking back at your pictures. And secondly, it can dehydrate you, alcohol. So it can leave you feeling a little bit sluggish, a little bit lethargic. So the best thing that we always advise, especially our hen parties and stag parties, with alcohol, when you're going to have hen do's and stag do's, don't have them 7 days before the wedding. Have them a little bit further ahead, just so you can get that out of your system. But don't think we're not saying don't have alcohol. On your big day, of course, have your glasses of champagne. You've worked hard for it. We're just saying prior to the big morning, prior to the big ceremony, try and avoid it as much as you can, which we know is hard, especially as it's a big time for celebrations. Now, another key point, again with alcohol, which I've not mentioned, is artificial sweetener. Now, my mum's a big fan, she loves artificial sweetener, but do be careful. You get a lot of those within drinks, cocktails, things like that. It's just not good. In terms of the swelling, it's not ideal. The next one might come as a bit of a surprise. It's raw vegetables. Now, when we have raw vegetables, it's broken down by that natine, which can produce bacteria. So ideally, try and avoid raw veg. The best way to prepare, because I know personally, I love to drip mine in oil and have them lovely and crispy. Again, avoid it. Steam your veg. Steam your veg is the best way. You know, we are not having to then work with that bacteria and that natine. It's just steamed veg. It's in a nice clean form. Don't add lots of seasoning. Keep it simple. Yes, it can be a little bit bland, but it's good for you, and it's gonna keep your energy levels up, because those 7 days before your big day are crucial. Now, our next is dairy. Now, even if you don't have any sort of issues with dairy, you're very comfortable with dairy, which, you know, many of us are, on the build up to the big day, the problem is sometimes dairy, when we're talking about milk, when we're talking about cheese, we can have a bit of a funny reaction with it, especially if we're nervous or perhaps we suffer from IBS and we're feeling a little bit uncomfortable. What I would say with dairy, if you can, just for those 7 days, maybe look at, instead of milk, oat milk. It's not permanent, it's just gonna keep that belly nice and settled. One exception to the dairy rule is yogurt. Yogurt is very, very good, it's very, very settling, and it's just a fabulous alternative to keep getting your dairy in. Now, fatty foods. We all know what we're talking about with fatty foods. We are talking about one of the most stressful weeks of your life before your wedding, and you want nothing more than to go to that drive-through and to get that cheeseburger and those fries. And you absolutely deserve it. However, the one thing I will say is try not to, because the one thing that fatty foods does is it zaps your energy, especially if at first you'll eat it and you'll think, oh, you'll almost get quite a high, and then within a while that energy is just going to be zapped, especially, as I said earlier, if you've been dieting for a while, you've not had fatty foods, then all of a sudden you do, best to avoid. Now, caffeine. This is a tough one for me. I'm a big caffeine drinker, especially a coffee, coffee and tea. A great way to do is look for alternatives, and just the week before your wedding, just try and look for non-caffeine drinks, just so you don't get that amazing high and then that crash that just comes right the way down. It's just best, it's just another helpful tip to keep your body and your energy exactly where you want it to be. And finally, this is an easy one to remember. If it fizzes, if it's got bubbles, avoid it. Soda, champagne, Prosecco, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. If you've got all of that caffeine, if you've got all those bubbles, imagine when that hits the stomach, you're going to get quite a reaction. And that's the last thing you want, especially the day of your wedding. You wake up, maybe you've been dieting, you've been trying hard, and more than anything, you're bloated and you just feel sluggish, lethargic. It's just gonna ruin your big day. And it's not ideal, is it? Not ideal. So there are Wedding Secret's best tips, diet-wise, to avoid for your big day, to keep you feeling not bloated and to keep your energy levels right the way up, which is what we all want for your big day, so you can make sure you can enjoy it to the max. Now, I hope some of these tips you're going to take on board, because I promise you'll be thanking us after your big day when you're feeling good and refreshed. We've got so many more videos for you, especially relating to diet ideas, exercise ideas, beauty, and much, much more. So go and have a look at our website, have a look at our YouTube videos. Do not forget, give us a like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.